Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's lesson is our first of Unit 2. It's using order of operations, which is called PEMDAS 2-1, 2-5. And our goal is we're going to evaluate, which is just a synonym for solve, expressions containing parentheses. So our first vocab word is what is an expression if we'll be solving them. An expression is simply a problem without an equal sign. So we could see something like 5 times 6. Or it could be a little more complicated, 7 plus 2 minus 4. So they're just problems, but they don't have the equal signs at the end. Our second vocab word is solution. A solution is just a synonym for an answer. Okay, our notes tonight are kind of the big part, that whenever you have a problem that has more than one operation, and remember in math there's 4 operations. There's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So whenever you have a problem that has more than one of these, you must use something called order of operations. So operations because we're talking about operations, and order because it's the order you need to work in. So PEMDAS is kind of a silly word that helps us remember the order of operations. So the first letter P stands for parentheses. You always need to solve everything in the parentheses first. And remember, parentheses look like this. So we solve what's inside the parentheses. Sometimes you'll even see some brackets, which remember we learned are part of the parenthesis family. Okay, our second order of operations is an E for PEMDAS. E stands for exponents. And in the last unit, we saw exponents when we had a base of 10, which is, remember, a big number. And then we saw exponents of 2, we saw 3, we saw 4. I think 5 was usually the highest we saw. But this was our exponent, this little number up here. In this unit, we're going to see some different exponents. Okay, multiplication is our M. So multiplication. Now usually, this is what multiplication looks like. An X. So we might see something like 3x5, which means 3 times 5. So it's sometimes you'll see something more sophisticated, which is like a dot, and it's not decimal because it's in the middle. That also stands for multiplication. Something even more sophisticated is when you'll see parentheses, but there's not anything inside them. It's just a number next to a parenthesis. This also stands for multiplication. These are the 2 that you'll see most often in 5th grade. Okay, the D stands for division. Okay, division usually looks like this. 20 divided by 4. It could also look like a fraction, 20 divided by 4. Or it could be written like a fraction this way, 20 divided by 4. So we need to be aware that all of those represent division. Our A stands for addition, which will always just look like the addition sign. And then I bet you've guessed our S is subtraction. So PEMDAS, again, is just a word that helps us remember the order. Now, one more thing to add to our PEMDAS, which makes it a little more tricky, is M and D, multiplication and division. You've kind of learned since 3rd grade that multiplication and division work together, like in the fact families. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So they work kind of as a team. Well, in PEMDAS, they also work as a team. So when you come to multiplication and division, the team works together left to right. So what that means is multiplication doesn't always come before division. And it comes as a team. So when I do it, I'll say, is there any multiplication or division? And then I just solve left to right. Okay, the same thing with addition and subtraction. They also work as a team. Okay, so kind of just like those fact families as well. They've always worked as a team since probably first grade. When I say like 10 minus 6 is 4, or 4 plus 6 is 10. So they work together as a team. So again, if they're on the same team, I'm going to solve them left to right. So addition's not ahead of subtraction. It's whichever one comes first. Okay, and I'll show you that when we come across some. Okay, our steps tonight are pretty short. Our first thing is we're going to write PEMDAS on top of each problem. So you're going to do this for 2 reasons. And notice how I circle my teams. One reason you're going to do this is the more you write PEMDAS, I call it deeper, it'll sink into your mind. You'll have it memorized sooner. The other reason you're going to do this is it's going to give you kind of a check-off list for each problem. Okay, our second step kind of has a lot going on. We're going to cross off PEMDAS as you go. So kind of like you cross off that checklist as you work through it. You're going to do one step at a time. People who try to do more than one step usually make silly errors. This one's silly. You're going to use something that we call carrots. And I'm putting them in parentheses because in quotations, because they're not real carrots. They're going to be these upside down, they look like kind of big V's. And then you're going to rewrite the problem as you go. So while you're solving, you're going to do all of this. You're going to be crossing off PEMDAS, doing one step at a time, using carrots and rewriting. Okay, so what does this really look like? Well, here's my first problem. Okay, it says, compare these expressions, these problems with no equal signs. Which problem will give me a solution or an answer of 22? So they gave me 2, A and B. They want to know which one will my answer be 22. Okay, so let's go back to my steps. My steps say I'm going to first write PEMDAS. And remember, this is going to be so I memorize PEMDAS faster. It's also going to be so I have a check off as I'm solving. So I'm going to write it twice because I'm going to do 2 problems. Okay, now as I'm solving, I have to do 4 things. I'm going to cross this off as I go, do one thing at a time, use these carrots and rewrite. So I'm going to start with A. Okay, well, do I have any parentheses? Yes, I do, right here. And there's a problem inside of it. It says 3 minus 2. So I'm going to use what we call a little caret. And I'm going to solve that. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I just did one step at a time using a little caret. Now I'm going to rewrite the rest of the problem. So I didn't use the 8. I didn't use the times, but I used all this. So now what am I left with? Do I have any more parentheses? Nope. Do I have any exponents? Nope. Do I have any multiplication or division? Yes. 8 times 1 is 8. And I have nothing else, so that is my answer. Well, let's come over here and try this one. Okay, I've already written my PEMDAS, so now I'm going to do my 4 things when I solve. Okay, I'm going to ask myself, do I have any parentheses? Nope. Do I have any exponents? Nope. Do I have any multiplication or division? Yes, right here. So I'm going to solve that first. 8 times 3 is 24. Notice I use my caret. and I did one thing, and then I rewrite the problem as I go. So I used this, but I didn't use the minus, and I didn't use the 2. Okay, so now I'm going to keep going. Do I have any more multiplication or division? Nope. Do I have addition or subtraction? Yes. And 24 take away 2 is 22. So if you notice here, the problems were almost identical, but the parentheses made a huge difference because it told me I had to solve this first. So when you don't follow order of operations, you really could get very different answers. So my answer for number 1 would not be A because I only got 8. It would be B. This expression helped me get 22. Okay, let's see a different kind of problem. This one is just giving me a straight problem just to solve. They want me just to solve this problem as is. So remember, I'm going to look at my steps again to kind of help me. And if I look at my steps, the first thing it says to do is to write PEMDAS. So that's going to be my little check-off list as I go. So PEMDAS, and I always circle my teams. Okay, now when I solve, I'm going to follow those 4 things. I'm going to cross off PEMDAS. Okay, so what do I have here? Do I have any parentheses? Yes, right here. So I'm going to do that first. 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay, and then I used my caret. Now I'm going to rewrite everything I didn't use. So I didn't use the 24. I didn't use the division sign. Okay, do I have any more parentheses? No. Do I have any exponents? Nope. Do I have any multiplication or division? Yes, right here. 24 divided by 4. Well, if you're stuck with that, remember it's a fact family, so you can think, what times 4 gets me this? And I'm getting 6. And then I'm done. That's my answer for number 2. Okay, this time I'm actually going to show you 3. I know normally I show you 2, but I have one more this time I want to show you. This one says, place parentheses in the correct place in order to get the solution 30. So they want an answer of 30, and they want me to place parentheses. So they want me to put parentheses somewhere. Well, there's a lot of ways I could attack this problem. I might first just solve what they gave me. So if I just solve it like they give me, let's see. Let's do my PEMDAS. Circle my team. So do I have any parentheses? Nope. No exponents. Multiplication or division? Yes, right here. Okay, and then I'm going to rewrite as I go. I don't have any more multiplication or division. And I do have addition or subtraction, and I'm getting 34. So that obviously didn't work. It didn't work when I did this first. Well, how am I going to tell someone not to do that first? If I put the parentheses around that, that's not going to help because when they solve it, they're still going to do this part first. So what if I put the parentheses here? Let's try solving that and see if I'm able to find that solution of 30. Okay, so I'm going to start with my parentheses. Do I have any? Yes. 12 minus 2 is 10. And I copy everything else down. I have no more parentheses. I have no exponents. I do have multiplication or division. 3 times 10 is 30. And I'm done. So where did I need to add the parentheses to get the solution of 30? I needed to add it right there. Okay, grab your pencil and let's try some. All right. Let's make these a little larger. So number 1 is similar to the one I did. This time they want me to compare the A and the B, and to see which one will get me a solution or an answer of 6. So I have to solve 2 of them. Okay, so let's see. I first am going to write PEMDAS on top of every problem I solve. And for number 1, I'm going to have to solve 2. And then remember, as I solve it, what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be using 1 step at a time, using my carets, crossing off, and rewriting. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Well, I have no parentheses in the first one. I have no exponents. I have no multiplication or division either. I do have addition or subtraction. Now, even though the A comes before the S, remember, because they're a team, I just solve left to right. So I would just say 15 minus 7, that one's a little tricky, is 8. And then I rewrite everything. Okay, 8 plus 2 is 10. Okay, that's what that one gave me. Let's see what the other one gives me, because I'm looking for a 6. All right, this time I do have parentheses. 7 plus 2 is 9. Using my caret and rewriting everything else. No more parentheses, no exponents, no multiplication or division, and I do have addition or subtraction. 15 minus 9 is 6. So I found my answer. B helped me get the solution of 6. So those parentheses made a big difference. It changed my answer completely. Okay, that one I have to change to a division sign. All right, let's try another one. Number 2, again, I'm going to start by writing my PEMDAS and circling my teams. Okay, this one looks a little different. I have 2 parentheses. Well, when you have 2, you just solve the first, go left to right. So 24 divided by 2 is 12. And then I copy everything down that I didn't use. I didn't use the subtraction and I didn't use all of that. Okay, I still have parentheses, so I'm not going to cross off my P yet. 4 times 2 is 8. And then I'm going to copy everything I didn't use. I didn't use the 12 or the minus. I have no more parentheses. I have no exponents. I have no multiplication or division, but I do have addition or subtraction. And I'm getting an answer of 4. Okay, our last one says place parentheses in the correct place in order to get the solution 5. So first of all, that is supposed to be a division. Yours should already be correct. Well, if I solve this without it, look what's going to happen. PEMDAS. I go to do parentheses, I have none. I go to do exponents, I have none. I go to do multiplication or division, and look what happens. 25 divided by 2. You really can't even do that. You could when you get into older math, but right now we've learned we really can't even do that. So that might be my clue that that's a problem. So what if I don't want to do that first? I want to do the other side first. Then I'm going to need some parentheses there. So maybe this time now we need to try this one this way and see if we can get it to give us a solution of 5. Okay, now I do have parentheses and I get 5. Copy everything else down. I have no exponents. Do I have multiplication or division? Yep. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So this is where I needed to put my parentheses to make it work. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know this was one of our longest videos ever. We are going to be practicing this skill for a few days though. So give yourself some time to learn it and we'll practice in class. Try your 3 problems and then rate yourself. Have a great night.